opportunities. So I want to go really quickly into the home buying process, just a little bit, because it's got to touch bases with everything. I'm going to go through this quickly, and then I'm going to bring in my girl, Deborah Sager from Associated Bank. So there's 9 steps to home ownership, okay? First of all, when you've taken the step in your own mind to realize, I can't be a renter any longer, it is important for me to possess a piece of land and own. That's a great step on its own. And when you take that step against all the fear and the negative thinking about it, is it possible? Can I actually do it? Is this going to be a reality for me, or am I going to fail? When you remove all of those barriers and say, what else do I have to do but give this my best foot forward? And you take that step, guaranteed, whether it's 30 days, 3 months, 6 months, or a year, you're going to own a home eventually, because you had the determination not to give up, okay? So step 1 is getting your pre-approval. Now, preparing for pre-approval is you working with your HUD counseling agency first and getting all your kinks out of the way. What do I mean by that? So if you have a situation where maybe you got something, a blemish on the credit, maybe you have a lot of debt that you owe. For instance, if you have a credit card and you have a credit card balance of $1,000, so you got a limit, $1,000. If you owe anything more than $100, that can start to make your credit, not be as great. When you owe the less on that card, the better you are, right? So those small things can actually change somebody's credit score drastically, but they don't know it. If you got a bill of $1,000 and you're spending $900 of it, that's an issue. You're overspending. You're in the F category. You're not in the A category. But if you only owe $100 or less, then you're in the A category and you help your credit to go up. When you have a big balance on a credit card and you take your credit score down drastically. I mean, it could go down by 20, 30 points simply because one credit card is overextended. So we want to make sure that we're utilizing our credit wisely, right? And making sure that when you come to the bank to get pre-approved, you come on your A game on top of it all, because you have done your due diligence, you finished your HUD counseling and your training, you've gotten your certification, you work with your HUD counseling agency to make sure that every barrier is now behind you. And now you only got to work on what's in front of you. And that's the fruits of a little bit of labor that's going to be required, and getting all your paperwork together to be pre-approved and to move forward into the next level. Now, once you got your pre-approval, it is celebration day. You are in there like, turn up, turn up, turn up, bye. Because you now have a piece of paper that says, we've gotten you through a big stage right now, and we're ready for you to go out and find a property, to own a piece of the land, and to be able to build a legacy of love for your family, to create wealth, because 95% of every single wealthy person has real estate in their portfolio. And even if real estate goes down, because the market does, it tends to almost always bounce back up, as long as you are using it wisely, okay? Now, when you get that wonderful, amazing pre-approval, positive paperwork, then you want to find a good agent. Okay, just 1 second of Hall of Fame. Perfect, wonderful, amazing agent right here that got your back. And this is what I tell every client of mine. Look, we're going to find the perfect property at the perfect price that's in perfectly divine order for you. And that's exactly what we do. When we look at our clients' information, I say to them, listen, you might have gotten pre-approved for $250,000. Let me show you what that mortgage is going to be. Deb or someone will run the mortgage payment, and I'll say, is that something you're comfortable with? If you know that you're not comfortable in that payment, then let's go down. Let's try to find you a nice house that might be a one that you could fix up a little bit at $175,000 or one at $200,000. So we want to work with you where you're comfortable at, because home ownership should be a nicely, easily, graceful process, not one that you feel challenged like, oh, got to pay that mortgage now. No, It shouldn't be like that. It should be with joy. I'm ready to pay this mortgage in my home that I'm now taking the principal payment down, and I will eventually own this place. That is the great thing about home ownership. So once you now got that great realtor on your side, that person is going to start going through what's called a multi-listing services. It's a service where we're able to look up properties throughout the state of Illinois, and we try to find a match. We want to understand, what is it that you really want? The more information you're able to give as a vision to your realtor, the better that relationship is going to be. So if you know, listen, you know what, I really need to have 3 bedrooms. I really do, because I want an office. I want a room for my child. I mean, and my mate have our room and space. So I want 4 rooms because I want one in the basement for when guests comes. And I have to have 2 bathrooms. I definitely need a bathroom on the first floor. So one of my clients I'm working with right now, she's like, listen, I don't want to run up and down the steps to go to the bathroom. So any house that I want, it has to have a bathroom on the first floor. I don't want that house. And I'm like, understood. So that's what I look for her to ensure that I am meeting her needs. That is important. So when we are able to go through this MLS system, it's very intelligent. It helps us to be able to narrow down our search so I can send my clients properties that I think might fit the description of what it is that they desire the most. And then it's real easy. They click on that yes, interested, or no, not interested. It's helpful to actually do both, because when you click on not interested, then I want to kind of understand, like you may say, okay, this style of house, I don't like a Georgian house. I don't want to ever see you one again if that's not what you want. So the more information that you're able to lay out, the more vision that you have for you to be able to pass along to your agent, that is the more helpful that your process is going to be. And then you start the fun stuff, getting out to find that property. And I tell you, it's really, really wonderful. And how we win faster and further together is when a person starts doing some due diligence of their own. If I send you some properties and you feel like you might like them, and some of the blocks, in Chicago could be a block by block effort. It could be a block by block if this house is a nice block to live on or not, right? And people care about that. So I say, when you get your pre-approval and you hit some stuff you like, go for a drive, have fun. Go look at the places, go and check out the block. That way we're not wasting time to go into every single property or setting up all the showings to gain access to them, to drive all the way there. When we get there, you're like, oh no, I'm not living next door to an abandoned building. Right. So if we know that already and you have driven by, and it's so much fun to take a look at the neighborhoods. I encourage people, if you really have interest in the house, drive by in the morning, drive by in the afternoon, drive by at night. Remember, this is something you're going to be signing mortgage papers for the next 30 years, which I really do hope that you pay into your principal and own your home in 15 years, though, so you get to financial freedom faster. We need to, when we get our home, we don't go on spending splurges. Instead, we become contagious savers so that we can start building the equity into our home. To me, it's like my 401k plan. My home is like my 401k. I invest in it. When I'm making a mortgage payment and I'm sending off an additional principal payment to it, that matters to me because I want to own my home. I want to own it. And I'm not paying someone 30 years interest. No disrespect, Deb. But we got to cut the cost so that money can go back into your family's pocket, okay? So when we get out and start searching for the homes, when you decide that there's one that you want, then step 5 is we place an offer. I want to tell you something. I tell every last one of my clients, I tell them all this, real simple. I say, listen, you're going to find the perfect property at the perfect price that's in perfectly divine order for you. So when we don't obtain a property, that property may or may not be for you. And when I say may or may not, is that sometimes people make a decision based upon fear instead of them having the faith to persevere through this situation. And right now, I know Deb and we've been working with a lady, honestly, I want to tell you this true story, for almost 6 months. And here it is. She was approved for about 165, and where she wanted to live, it was very few places that she could get in that area, right? But we found her something, and it was amazing, and she loved it, and she wanted it. And at the time, she said, well, the parking was a half a block in. And she said, well, I don't want to pay a separate bill for parking. So find me one where the parking amount is included, right? We walked away from a place because of one situation, one little small situation. To fast forward, she has now had to compromise not just on one thing, but about 9 things. Why? Because interest rates went up. And so the amount of money that she was originally appraised for had to go down. She redid her taxes. She claimed a lot of things on her on her taxes. So then that made her income go down. She had so many different barriers, but she never acted on what she really wanted because she was doing it out of fear. And right now she went from 165,000. She's only approved for $100,000 because of consistent procrastination and not having the flexibility to understand that you can make something great. You got to have a new set of lenses when you're coming into a house. You have to have a lenses that says, you know what, this was someone else's dream, and I'm going to turn around and make it mine. And it'd be okay with you to feel that way and to know that that's possible. And you don't have to go in and say, oh, I got to go into debt. I got to do all this at one time. In my house right now, we've been living here for over 12 years. We started working on our house just 3 years ago. We saved the money to pay for it, and we did it room by room. Do you know what a blessing that is right now to walk into a place, that we predominantly own? And almost at this point, just a few steps away from that, this is what it's all about, you guys. So when you go out and you get a property and you feel that it's connected to you, then trust the advice of where your realtor is telling you need to be at in the process. This same young lady walked away from a property because she didn't want to go up $3,000. $3,000 is pennies on a mortgage. I'll let Deb talk to you about that later. But then we're going to go right on the next thing to the attorney review. We'll begin if we get an accepted offer. If we don't get the offer, then we start over again. But don't be discouraged. Don't feel like, oh, I missed that opportunity. No, that house was meant for the person who received it. And there is a house with your name on it where your blessings cannot get mixed up with anyone else's. If I can't tell you nothing else, if that house is yours, it will be yours. If it's not meant for you to have that house, for whatever reason that we may not know or understand, there is a great house waiting for you. Believe that, okay? Now, we will go right into, if you get it accepted, there's an attorney review period because we did our inspection. We already know the barriers of the house. We go back, we negotiate the repairs, and we ask for some money. And then we go into the attorney review period where they're working. We're on time schedules. Things got to get done. And both the attorney review period and the post-attorney review period. In between that time, Deb or one of the loan officers, they're calling you saying, I need this paperwork. I need that paperwork. I need this. I need that. I need this. I need that. Let me tell you something. Do not waste your time at all feeling angry or anxious. It is wasted energy. You have to say every single document that they require of me, I'm going to get it to them swiftly and peacefully so that I can get to the finish line with my goal. And you keep it there and you let nothing stop you. You got to put an infrared, y'all know those little infrared beamers that they have on those things. And instead of shooting bullets, you shoot love with them. Love for your work, love for your future, love for the legacy that you're going to be able to either pass on to your family or cash in to move into your condo or go and to move to Florida, wherever you want to go when it's time for you to retire. Because this is what owning a piece of land does for you. Okay? And so then we're going to go ahead and get you to the closing table. You're gonna need money. Let's just keep it real quick. Even when we're able to work, and Deb and I, we work very well together, and we're able to go out and really help people layer money. Don, I see Mr. Don Davis on there. He could tell you we had a lady right now. She was only going to be getting, I think, about $4,500. We ended up getting her, Deb, I think, and it was a total of about $20,000. Now, sometimes that happens, right? Just because where she was buying. And sometimes that doesn't. but no matter what, she was going to persevere to come up with that money on her own. She just got blessed in the end because she persevered and she did everything she needed to do to be successful. So I encourage everyone, where I see people being the most successful in this situation, the most successful in this situation is those individuals that remain faithful through this process and committed. Then they get here to step 8, to being a part of a closing and owning a piece of the land. And then they go out and you know what they do? They tell everyone else about it in step 9, and they refer their friends and family and tell them, you know what? I did this, and guess what? You can do it too. So Deb, I'm gonna turn it right over to you so you can talk about the lending process and let them know that this is nothing to be afraid of. It's nothing but a wonderful, amazing blessing to walk through this. And then we want to be able to see the fruits of the labor by being able to own a property. There you go, Deb.
Thanks, Nicole. Good evening, everyone. My name is Deborah Schlager. I work for Associated Bank, and Nicole and I have a great working relationship, and we get everyone to the finish line. And some of the things that Nicole said about when we ask for paperwork, please give us the paperwork so we can get you approved, closed, and as soon as possible, because there are timelines when you sign a contract. So I'm going to go into about mortgages a little bit. Anybody who has any questions, whatever they are, please ask your questions.
I got a question right away. How you doing? What's going on, everybody? Listen.
Hey, Don.
We got some good news. I saw a piece of paper that came across my desk today, said that you got someone approved for got $200,000 in buying power.
Woo! Yes, we did.
I just want to say thank you for all the hard work and the dedication and the patience. And we're working on a new project right now. And they were asking a question. They were saying, what separates the individuals that you all choose as agents and lenders from My Turn to Own? Because you can find lenders and agents anywhere. And one thing that I told them is that we are a community of invested, embedded individuals that once we pass someone along, we know whomever we pass them to is going to get them to the finish line as though they are us. And that's one thing that I'm super excited about, that from every step of the way, you handle each individual, not as though they're a customer or applicant, but as though they're a family member. I have seen people on this team go way above and beyond. We're not just educating, motivating, but also putting the information in place to liberate their minds to get to another place. So I appreciate everyone on this call. I appreciate you, Ms. Deborah, and Ms. Whitley.
Thank you.
You know, we rock and roll and we do the doggone thing. This is what I want to talk about, Ms. Deborah, that I want to hit on. Tell us the importance of when you ask us for documentation, getting in, not piecing it to you. And tell us about the deadlines, those timelines where we can get in a vicious cycle of we send the one piece in and one piece in and one piece in, and by the time it's time to go through, we look and one expired, then you got to start all over again, and then you put that. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes.
Because I believe that if we don't do our due diligence at the beginning, small mistakes like that is going to make this process very frustrating.
You're absolutely right, but not just one by one. You cannot take a picture. That's another thing. People send in pictures from their phone of the documents that I request. We can't take snapshot pictures of those documents because I can't attach them to a file. And by the time we fit them in to attach them, you can't read them. And then an underwriter's like, I can't accept this. So when we ask for documentation, I'll give in the beginning, we give a list of everything that we need. 2 years tax returns with your W-2s, 30 days of the most recent paycheck stubs, 2 months of your bank statements, and every single page, not a transaction history. We need the actual bank statement, the most current, all the pages. Even if page 6 is blank, I still need that page. And we need your picture ID. we have to have that documentation all at once, because that will start the process and be able to get you at least the pre-approval. And then once you get the contract after the pre-approval, you go out looking. If it's 30 days, 40 days, I might have to update it again, but at least I am able to work and know what you qualify for with those documents. Any questions on that? Also, on credit, we were talking about credit. While you are looking for a mortgage, even before you start, do not go out and start applying for credit cards, because that will lower your score. So some people go out, they have no credit, and they start applying for credit cards. Don't do that, because yes, it'll give you a credit score, but we can't use the credit that you just established. We need 12 months. So we can use alternative credit. And the alternative credit is rent checks, or if it's a management company, we can use 12 months of rental. We can use utility bills, cell phone bill. If you pay car insurance monthly, those are all forms of alternative credit. But going out and trying to establish yourself with just a few months, that is not going to give you a credit score. It will give you a credit score, but we can't use it as your credit because it's less than 12 months. Also, sometimes people get added on to their parents or family members to give them a credit score as an authorized user. You're only an authorized user. That's not your credit. So they put you on there to use that card, but that is not your credit. So the best thing is, if you're not ready to purchase now, and you know in the future and you have no credit, you can start establishing yourself now. But if you're ready, even if you have no credit, no score, and you know that you have no score, you still can buy. We can do alternative credit. Another big thing is, do not have people pull your credit while you're looking. You need to go to My Turn to Own and let them do the soft credit pull. It does not affect your score at all. And this way we can look at your credit before I do a hard credit pull, and I could advise you, okay, this credit card, you're only a few points away from a 640, because most products that we have for free down payment assistance or first-time home buyer programs, you need a 640 credit score. And if you start applying at other companies because they said, yes, I can get you approved, your score is going to continue to drop. And it's not worth it.
Miss Deborah, I got a question for you. Well, I actually have a few, but I'm going to keep it at one.
Okay.
So an individual called us today. And I think it was today or yesterday or whatever. And their concern was, I'm looking for the best bang for my buck where getting buying power is concerned, right? And, anybody that's really looking for, they're shopping around. But their concern is, if I apply for 3 or 4 banks, will it drop my credit score down drastically? Do you have any response about that? Or what?
Yes. You have a window, a time frame for pulling credit. It's 15 days. So if you come to me today, another bank tomorrow, and another bank the next day, it's not your score is not going to drop. But after 15 days, if you then go to another bank, your score is going to drop. So you have a 15-day window. But here's the thing, even if they come by you first and they know there's 3 credit scores and we go by the middle, you can call any bank, broker, whatever, and say, listen, this is my middle credit score. This is how much money I make. We don't have to pull your credit to tell you rough numbers of what we feel you can qualify at. People call me all the time and say, yeah, I'm shopping. What can you offer me? You don't have to pull their credit. I'm going to ask you, okay, do you know your middle score? Yes. Okay. Have you filed a bankruptcy in the last 4 years? Then it can determine, can you apply for an FHA, which is a government insured loan, or can you get a conventional mortgage because you had a bankruptcy, but it's been discharged for 4 years?
Yeah.
Because that is the rule on a bankruptcy. Then I'm going to ask you, how much money do you make? Do you know what your W-2s? Do you get hourly? And I can figure those numbers, and I can say, what are your monthly debts? I can tell you yes or no what I can offer you. So even when you're shopping, do not let anybody run your credit.
Yeah. And I think one thing that we can do that, of course, My Turn to Own can help every individual with that, but it's okay also to utilize third parties like Identity IQ or MyFICO or TransUnion, where you can get all 3 credit scores, and it may be at a monthly payment. What is that free one that they utilize? I forgot the name of it. Everybody uses it.
Credit Karma.
Oh my gosh!
No Credit Karma.
No Credit Karma. You're right. I'm going to tell you what the biggest issue is with Credit Karma. They only do 2 agencies, right? So people are very shocked when they see a Credit Karma amount, and then they get the 3rd report and it's down 50 points. They're not a good resource.
And that's when it comes, when you start talking about how do I invest in myself, you have to always know your status and your credit score. Like, that's important. And you have to be more proactive than reactive. We were talking about this today on a podcast of, it has to get to a point where our people stop. We only check our credit score out of, like, when an emergency happens or out of desperation. Like, when we get to like the end point was like, I need a car, or I need a house, or I need a major purchase, and then you find out that your credit score is not the best, you're like, well, just run it and see whatever you, and that's very dangerous, especially when you're trying to buy a car, because they will run your credit 40 times with 40 different lenders, and that's just at one bureau. So now you got 40 inquiries on each bureau, and they smell the desperation on your breath. They smell it. So it's very important to position yourself where, when you don't need to buy a house or you don't need to buy a car, to start doing your research and understanding the industry and understanding everything you need to know. So when you come to the table, one thing that I learned is you have to sit at the table. Because if you don't sit at the table, you're going to be on the menu. It's your choice. And sitting at the table, meaning positioning yourself to be in a place where you can make major moves, where you can have control of your own life, your own lifestyle, where you dictate if your wife or your children is going to eat McDonald's or steak and, well, I don't even eat steak and potato. What's another, like a 5-star dish? Well, you understand what I'm saying. Period. So that's the point that I really do want to make with everyone. But go ahead, carry on. I'm sorry, Ms. Deborah. I got passionate. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So wait, let's get to this part. So yes, we talk about credit. It's very important what documents we need, but also when you shop, you need to see who has down payment assistance, because there is truly free money out there, free, if you qualify. And those are the key questions to ask, because you need to know. I can offer you $4,500 free money. I can offer you a mortgage that is a conventional with 3% down and no private mortgage insurance. Plus the Federal Home Loan Bank has down payment assistance. I have that money also. It's up to $6,000. So you need to ask the questions, what do you have for first-time home buyers? What are the qualifications? Because all free money, down payment assistance is income driven. So it all depends on what your income is and the income level. But there is free money. It is available out there.
You know, Deb, I just want to say how much I love that about working with your organization. One, because you all offer a conventional in-house loan product, right? Which is very different. And I know that you guys may have heard about FHA and the government loans and also the conventional loan. I was on a training last night. On every Tuesday, I'm doing a whole group with the Dave Ramsey financial training, financial piece. It's amazing. And yesterday was solely on home purchasing. And they said, if you have to go to FHA for government loan because you have to pay private mortgage insurance, they said, run far away, Don't do it. And Associated Bank is one of the few that actually have a conventional loan in-house program. Deb, I want you to tell them about that and also explain about PMI. Now, listen, I do understand that there's some people who got to go FHA to get started, and that's okay. Do it, but then you want to refinance out when things get better, so that you can get into a conventional loan and get yourself out. My girlfriend heard it for the first time after owning her home for 15 years, that she still has $300,000 mortgage on. I mean, she bought it at 200 some thousand. She owed 300 some $1,000 on it. And so she said, I got to refinance right away. I got to get out of this because I paid $300 in private mortgage insurance. Deb, could you explain that to them? Because I want people to really understand how to keep that money in their pocket.
Okay, so first of all, FHA. FHA is a government insured loan. And no, we're not going to bash FHA because yes, some people need an FHA mortgage. And here's why you would need FHA. FHA is lenient that if you have filed a bankruptcy in the last 4 years, you cannot do a conventional mortgage. You have to go FHA. So people need that because FHA, after 2 years in a bankruptcy, it has to be completely discharged. Your bankruptcy has to be discharged for 2 years, and then you can go FHA. Like I said, FHA is a government insured loan. Yes, you have to pay that monthly private mortgage insurance. And what private mortgage insurance is, it's an insurance that protects the lender in case you default and go into foreclosure. And whoever the PMI company is, they continue to make your mortgage payments to the bank while you go through the foreclosure process. FHA collects, there's a formula they use, they collect upfront for the full 30 years and it gets added onto your principal. You finance that for the full 30 years and then you pay monthly. Conventional mortgages, also my bank has an exclusive program that is a portfolio that we have no private mortgage insurance on conventional. Now, we do have conventional mortgages that you take private mortgage insurance. The reason that we would use that, because qualifying ratios, you can go much higher than our regular portfolio loan. But if you don't have to take private mortgage insurance, then it's best not to take it because depending on your credit score, if you have a credit score that is not above a 720, your private mortgage insurance on a conventional mortgage is going to be very high. It's going to be very high. So only if you have to take private mortgage insurance, if you want to extend, like you say, we approve you at 200, but you said, no, I want to go higher, 250. Well, then you might have to take private mortgage insurance because of our qualifying ratios. We can extend it and get you up to 50%. But otherwise, if you do not have to take private mortgage insurance, by all means, don't, because it's a waste and it's at least $100 or more a month added to your payment. And you cannot drop private mortgage insurance unless you go back to the lender. Say you bought a house and you totally gutted it and rehabbed it, and you know that you have over 20% equity. Then you can call your bank, tell them, listen, I just rehabbed my whole house. I know it's worth a lot more money. They'll send an appraiser out there. If it's increased in value, you can drop your private mortgage insurance. But otherwise, you have to keep that mortgage insurance. It's usually for 7 years before they see that you've accumulated any equity in the property. Let's see, what else? What other? There's another program with down payment assistance. It's $15,000. And Nicole had spoke on this, that yes, we can layer grants. The $15,000 is called MMRP, Micro Market Recovery Program. And it's in 13 areas in Chicago. And it's not every block. It's just certain streets, but it's $15,000 and it's a lien on your property. It's a silent second for 5 years, which means you have to keep the property. You cannot rent it. You cannot sell it, or else they'll prorate and you'll have to pay back a portion of that $15,000. But we could layer $15,000, my $4,000. You only need $1,000 of your own funds. If you get that.
I want to talk very quickly about one of our previous clients, Deb, Beverly. We helped Beverly get the grant. So you guys gave her $4,500, which she didn't have to pay back. And then we were able to get her $15,000 because of where she bought her house. We ended up negotiating her house, I think for about maybe like I think we ended up getting it for like 155, about 155 in 2018. She called me back and said, wow, I got an opportunity of a lifetime. My job is actually going to pay for me to live downtown for XYZ a number of years. I don't want to be a landlord, so I'm going to go ahead and sell my house, and I'm going to live down there for free because it's right around the corner from my job, and then I'll buy another house later. Well, I sold her house. The value had gone up to 210. I sold her house for $210,000. So yes, she did have to pay back a proration of the grant of the money that she had gotten of the $15,000. But look, she made money. It was nothing for her to pay that back. Her home had appreciated, and she walked away with a nice sizable check, like 30-something grand, after all expenses were paid. So sometimes that happens if you have oh wow, I'm getting married now. And I had another lady in the same situation. But the thing is that there's programs that are out there to suit your situation. So don't be afraid of getting a grant, even if it means that you have a lien on your home. Wait out the time frame or pay back the prorated amount. And the city of Chicago also has other grants. They have not been announced yet. I literally have just been on edge waiting for them. They're running a little behind in the beginning of this year, but you also want to always be checking the city of Chicago's website to understand what other kind of programs they have. Mmrp is just one of the many programs. They had a tax saving program. That program is more than likely going to be launched again this year, where you can save up to $20,000 over 10 years on your taxes. And so it's just so many different things that are out there. Do a little bit of research. Open up your mind to be able to receive it, figure out how you can layer opportunities, and move into this process with a complete open mind, ready to receive all the knowledge, to get the experience under your belt, but even more importantly, to receive this property that you can be able to create this wealth with. Whether, like I said, you keep it for so many years and you appreciate the growth in it, and then you sell it to make money. Whether you decide, well, I'm getting ready to use the funds in this house to buy this other house. However you choose to do it, you got options. But guess what? When you're renting, you just get to move. That's it. And pay your expenses. Nothing that you get back in return. Even some people run small businesses out of their home. And a lot of the things they're able to write off. You work with a tax consultant about that. But I know people they have a lot of great write-offs because they're using their home as their small business. One lady's running her Mary Kay business from her home. It's a home-based, legitimate business that she runs from, and she's able to write off a lot of different things that she couldn't write off, and even pay herself rent for a portion of her home. These are things that you can't do when you own. When you're renting. They could only happen when you own. And that's why, listen, their words to the name of this company, meaning me, you take your finger, you point it at yourself, my turn to own. Like, it's my turn now. It's my turn to grow. It's my turn to build. It's my turn to take my life to the next level. It's my turn now. I love it. That name is powerful. It stands for a lot because it's taking it personal now. There's a picture of a little key that is meant for you to put it in the door and turn it and say, this is mine. A blessing. Go ahead, Deb.
Well, on that note, Nicole, so yes, you shouldn't be afraid. If you don't know your credit, if you don't even know where to start, get in touch with My Turn to Own. Go see their housing counselor. They can sit down with you, advise you. Then they can turn you over. I can look at what you give them, and we can see what you can qualify at. Excuse me.
And then once you get that information and how you qualify for it, listen, whatever you get, believe me, when I told you earlier, there's a perfect property for the perfect price that's in perfectly divine order for you, we're going to find it for you. Today, I'm working with the lady that Deb and I are working with. She was only approved for $120,000. And at first she was very discouraged. And when she called other agents, she got even more discouraged. And she was trying to decide who she was going to go with. And I said, here's all my information. I want to tell you about me, blah, blah, blah. And I said, listen, at the end of the day, go with the person that you feel most connected to. But whatever you do, don't give up and moving forward in this. Not even a couple of weeks later, she called me back. She said, you know what? You were the most positive person. I said, listen, there's ways to work around things. Because when Deb gives you a pre-approval, what's so great about it is that she gives a speculation on what she believes the tax amount for your house could potentially be. And then she also gives like a hypothetical situation of what your insurance will be. And so sometimes if you get a pre-approval for 150, I've been able to help people get a home at 175 because maybe she put it out there. We're going to speculate it might be $3,000. Well, I end up finding you a home where the taxes are only $2,000 annually. So then that gives you more room to be able to afford a higher mortgage amount. It still leverages out. You'll still be paying the same payment. But the fact is that now more of the opportunity of that money is going to be going to your pay off your principal balance versus paying for taxes. Okay. That's the way that works. And so we're able to look at somebody's stuff and say, oh, you were at 150, but you know what? We can get you this house at 165 because the house that we found, the taxes are low. Yeah. And then we are able to make that thing work for you. Therefore, explain that.
So what I usually do is I do not go low on the interest rate because we have to look at what today's rates are. I'm not going to give you a loan approval at 4.875 because if you don't buy for 2 months, we might be at 5.25. So I'm going to give you a higher interest rate. Excuse me 1 second. Nicole.
Okay, so y'all jump in, no problem there. So, and some of the different things that you do, right? If you have, for instance, okay, I want to give you a prime example of a realistic situation that we're faced with right now. A gentleman just got pre-approved for 175, right? And so I think that Dad put this thing about like from where he said he wanted to live at $3,500. Well, we looked up and we found a really nice house on a nice block. It needed a tiny little bit of work, but he felt like I can get this stuff worked out. So now the house was 199. Well, he had only got approved for 175, but the taxes were $2,200. She projected 3,500. They were only 2,200. So now this is where the loveliness of this situation come at, because I, as an agent, I'm going to check multiple things. When we decide that there's something that you want to see on a property, I am going to go to the Cook County Treasurer's office and I'm going to check the taxes. Because sometimes realtors may make a mistake and put the taxes on there low and they forget to say, well, somebody has exemptions. When you become a homeowner after the first year of owning your home, you will receive a homeowner's exemptions. You have to apply for it. Let me be clear. And then you will receive it. And it helps your mortgage to go by, if you're in the city of Chicago, sometimes about $700-800 annually. So you save whatever $700-800 is divided by 12 on your mortgage. It could be $58, $60, $70, right? And your mortgage goes down the next year when you get that exemption applied for you. So a lot of times you might see the exemption thinking, oh, these taxes are low. So we do our due diligence. Before we write an offer on a place, we're going to check those taxes. We're going to make sure that everything makes sense. And I'm going to check it even before I take you out. Because why am I take you out to see a property you can't afford to buy? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Why would I do that to you? I don't want to do that to you. I want us to stay in the lane that works for you, the lane of success for you, for your dollars, for your future, for your opportunities, and what it is that you choose to have. And so when we take a look at that information and go out there, we're going to make it happen for you. So we're going to check all that and we're going to say, okay, listen, now we got your mortgage right back to where you were pre-approved for, because you found a house that was 195 or 199, but your taxes are low. So that leverages out. Taxes weigh a big piece on your mortgage. Let me just give you an example of that. Deb, you can just jump in whenever you want to, dear. So $3,500 of taxes, if you take that and you divide it by 12, that means automatically you're going to pay $291.67 per month, period. No matter what. That doesn't factor your insurance and also your mortgage. It doesn't factor those two because that's what the tax amount is. Now, big difference. If the taxes are $2,200 and we divide that by 12, then there's $183.33. Big difference, right? It's a saving.
I'm gonna tell you some true story. I was looking for a property, and you know how you just come across like deals that's like, oh my God, this house for this amount of money. So I came across the house, and it was a really, but it needed it just needed like some cosmetics to it. But it was pretty pricey, but it wasn't like, oh my God. But for that area, it was a great investment or a great purchase. So I'm just looking at, and I'm like, I could try to find a way to afford this. And I showed it to my brother. And my brother, like, this is an awesome deal, but you need to look at those taxes. Tell me why the taxes was $50,000 a year.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
Crazy.
You divide that by 12 and then you add that on to whatever your monthly note is. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
But I'm saying that to say the power of taxes. You'll go in looking at just, this is a good deal for this area, but you're not paying attention to how those taxes can make you or break you.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because I want to say very quickly, I just had a gentleman, right? It's very few times that I will ever depart with a client, because I'm in it for the long haul with them. Let's work this thing out. Let's work it out and keep working it out, right? It's just like how you got to be in a marriage. You work it out or work it out. You don't walk away. You're supposed to work it out or work it out, okay? And that's how the relationship has to be when it comes to that. Gives you no out. And that's how the relationship has to be with you and your realtor and you and your lender and you and your attorney while you're going through that process, and also with your inspector. You work it out, you work it out. So here it is, right? I had a gentleman just recently. He came, he was already pre-approved. He had gone and got 4 different pre-approvals from 4 different places. Here is where the problem lie in. He was excited, and I did not want to rain any on his thunder. I didn't want to thunder on his rain, all that, the rain on the thunder, whatever that saying is. I didn't want to blow his amazing natural high of being proved for this opportunity. I didn't want to do that. But the moment he said, I want to live in South Holland, I was like, ooh. Because see, I know
Texas.
South Holland taxes. Now, if you got proof for $200,000,
Yes.
because I had to take him through the exercise. He actually got upset with me and he left me. He did come back, but he did leave me because he felt that every single time that he sent me a property, I went to the Cook County Treasurer's office to check the affordability for him, because I care about him. I care about you. I want to make sure that you are not overextending yourself. You already gave me the magic number to what you can afford, and the bank already approved you, not just one time, but another bank and another one in your affordability, and they were all around the same amount of money. So that says where you need to be. Now you can choose where you want to live, but if we're going to move out to South Hollands, we're going to be looking at a smaller home. He wanted one that was the big, bodacious. Now, even with some of the smaller homes, the taxes were $8,000 and $9,000.
Taxes.
I gave you the math on that. An $8,000 mortgage, taxes divided by 12 is automatically $666.67 per month, every month, just given to the county.
Yeah.
It's not money going
I'm
to
I'm gonna tell you, the police power and the educational system ain't all that.
It's not. That's why a lot of people have left there, and they did move back to Chicago to join into some of their charter and classical schools and everything else. I've had so many people to move from there, because what happens is they still go up, and taxes do go up, and you must rebuttal your taxes every year. You have to fight. Your taxes get increased. You need to do the due diligence. It's all free information. You give them comparatives, and you say, I want my taxes down.
Yeah.
You got to keep, and you got to file for your exemptions. That's your responsibility as a homeowner. Keep that in your pocket to say, when is the day of exemptions? Have something to ring on your magic phone that you use all the time to tell me, oh, I need to apply for my exemption. I have to do that. I have in my phone when I got to service my furnaces, because I want to make sure that, I don't get up to the fall and I didn't call in enough time, and now they're booked up and I got to turn on my heat. I got a note on my phone when to call Four Seasons for them to come out to be able to take up my thing, because we get busy. So program stuff, because you have the luxury of the technology on your hand to ensure your success when you become an owner. Yeah. I want to tell you this too. I had a client, Deb, you, like I said, jump in whenever you're ready. But I had a client as well. These are real live, real truthful stories. I just closed on a deal with this client. Helped him find an amazing 2-flat for $220,000. It was beautiful. This couple that did it was amazing on a really nice block. It was a golden opportunity. He was like, oh, thank you, Lord. Oh, I got this. Oh, he was so excited. He was so happy. And we were giving each other daps and everything, right? Everything was good. The man helped him. He gave him down payment money. He put in a coin washer and dryer for him. He then went out, screened the tenants, got him 2 tenants that paid him a good, healthy salary per month on both floors, filled it up for him because he wasn't going to live in it. The man helped him with doing all of this stuff, right? And then as soon as we closed on the day we got there, he said he saw a few little small things that wasn't done. When I say they're small, they're like check punch item list things. When you get an inspection report, an inspector's job is to go in and try to find everything that's wrong with the health of that house to educate you. Most people are not going to fix everything on there. Now, we will go back and try to get you some of the things that are larger items on there to get either credit or get them fixed for you. But sometimes when it's like, oh, it's a little hole and I can see the flashing, add you some flashing, baby. It's your house now. Get it done. This man went on, I'm calling the attorneys, I'm calling the lawyers over about 6 or 7 punch items that he said should have been done by them. Wasn't done by them, but it was never in writing. He had been having conversation with the owner. You don't do that. Everything that you desire needs to be captured in writing. In the negotiation of the attorney review period that we talked about. Now he's going to go and waste all his money and his time because of whatever issue he has with this process, filing a lawsuit that he's never going to win because he signed off on it and they protected themselves. The inspector protected himself and the inspection report saying that I'm giving you the best of my knowledge based upon what I can see. It's in the 7.0 contract. It's in everything. But if you want something, you make sure you put it in writing in the attorney review period. I'm just giving people information to hold on to. I'm planting a seed as you begin to walk through this amazing, wonderful, God-given process that you will have these seeds in your head. You'll say, Nicole said that I need to make sure I put everything in writing that I want. So you write it and you send it over to your attorney and to your realtor, say, hey, let's draft this together so that they know I want to get these things done. Let's draft this together so they know I want to get $2,000. Let's do this as a team so that we win together and not having no conversation on the side about, oh, me and the owner, we've been talking. Wait a minute, you shouldn't exchange numbers with them. Now you're doing stuff off the record. Now it's off the record. And now no one is held liable for that. Let's be responsible through this process, right? So I'm going to stop real quick just to see if you guys have any questions. I know it's 6:58. Wow, it's 6:58. Time flies when you are having fun like this, right? So I want to make sure you guys, if you have any questions, please. Do we have a few minutes for that or what?
Yeah, no, we do. I got a quick question for you though, because one thing that you said about the 2-unit or the 3-unit building, right? Is there any way, like, say if I'm looking for a 3-unit building and I make a certain amount of money and I'm going to live in it as a residential, my first time, purchase. Is it any way, like, how does the banks look at the income from the 2 other units? Do they look at that as an additional income? And would they put it towards my, my loan? What does that look like?
Okay.
The 2 units. So if you're going to buy a 3-unit, the only way for minimal money down would be FHA, because FHA on a 3 and 4 unit, you only need 3.5% down. Otherwise, okay, if you get a conventional mortgage, you're going to need 25% down. So you would go FHA. And what happens is we're going to take the other 2 units, the rental on the other 2 units, we take 75% of the rental, and that gets added to your income as income towards what we qualify you towards your income also.
So it increases my buying power because we're utilizing 75% of the income from those other 2 units.
Correct.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
But one other thing on FHA, when they look at 3 and 4 units, besides the 3.5% that you need to put down, they want to see, they take the rental on all 3 units or all 4 units, and they take 75%, regardless if you're going to live there, they take 75%, and whatever is left over has to satisfy your PITI.
Thank you.
So the
thank you.
building, they want to see that the building really can pay for itself with those rentals.
Mm-hmm.
Plus also, Nicole, we should say, when you're a first-time home buyer, yes, you need some money in the bank
Yes.
because you have to give earnest money, which is money that you give when you sign the contract in good faith that you're going to buy the property. But some people still think that you need like $10,000. It depending on the sales price, but truly, if you have at least $3,000 to $5,000 and you can get money for grants, you can buy a house. You can buy a property, especially if we can give you grant money.
And you know what, Deb, I'm glad you mentioned that, because as we prepare to wrap up for tonight, I want to just say to everyone how important it is to, in preparation for this, start to save, really go on a financial diet, right? Stop the excessive spending. You know, if we're going out and we're buying frivolous things, put a hold on that. They're looking at all your spending track anyway on your bank statements. Put a break on that. Use the power of no to tell people, you know what, I'm sorry, I can't do that right now, because you're going to be saving for something that's so meaningful and so purposeful. This is going to be life-changing. And it's one of the best feelings in the world when it is absolutely your turn to own. And you put that key in the door and walk through something and you say, this is mine. It's a blessing beyond your imagination. It is one of the truly best feelings that you would ever feel. And so it's worth it. If you have to say, no, you know what, I really don't have a down payment money, but you know what, I'm going to sign up and start Ubering. I had a young lady who did not have a car. She signed up for Uber, and Uber got her a car. Now she had to pay a car note to Uber. But so she made the money to pay the car note to Uber and then made all the money that she needed for her down payment. Now, that was amazing. She also went on eBay to sell specific things that she know that no longer was a need for her. And she got that money and now she's in her home. And it is amazing. And she did it with a little bit of sacrifice. So do the next steps by all means necessary. This is your life, your future, your family's future. And this is worth making the sacrifice on. I want to thank you all so much for joining us on the call. I'm going to throw my information in the chat. If you have any questions and or concerns, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'm be sending love, light, peace, and blessings, and all that other kind of encouragement that you all need right in your direction tonight. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you and have a fantastic evening.
Listen, thank you all so much. Thank you, Ms. Deborah. Thank you, Ms. Wheatley. Thank you, my China Own team. Listen, I want to tell you all this before we get off this phone. Please forgive me. I was running from one place going to another. But we have a gala coming up. Our gala will be fastly approaching June the 9th. We are trying to raise $300,000, and part of our goal is to raise enough funds to help and assist our community with down payment assistance. So by next Wednesday, we're going to have some information to drop in a link for any of our followers that want to come and participate in the gala. And it's just going to be a good time, you know, being able to meet and greet these individuals that jump on this call every Wednesday and extremely dedicated to making sure that you win. It's going to be a great experience. Listen, good night, everybody. Happy Wednesday. And I pray everyone's safe. And I'll see you all next Wednesday. Thank you all.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you.